What's up, BookTube? Welcome back. My name is Laura if you're new here, and today I'm talking about some new releases for February. So I've got 6 books to talk about today with you guys, as always, not including sequels, and I am so excited for all of these ones that are coming out. Will I actually get to them in this month? Probably not. Will it be anytime soon? Also, probably not, but I will eventually read these ones, and as of right now, I'm very excited for them. I'm just honestly terrible at keeping up with new releases. I do try and get to them as fast as I can, but I have like months and months and months worth of books that were new releases when I heard about them, and now they're all backlist books. So I'm still trying to work through all those ones. But anyways, let's just get into the books for this month. Starting with is Woven Kingdom by Tahereh Mafi, coming out on the 1st. This is the author of the Shatter Me series, which I have not personally read. I would like to at some point, but I just haven't gotten around to it. But the entire bookish internet seems to have read these books and like either loved them or absolutely hated them. It seems to be a very polarizing series. I will get to it one day, just not anytime soon probably. But this is the brand new release from this author, and first of all, the cover is gorgeous. I love this bright yellowy gold color. It's beautiful. And it has to do with clashing empires, forbidden romance, and a long forgotten queen destined to save her people. So it sounds like a pretty typical fantasy, which I do very much enjoy. That is never a bad thing. But the twist for this one is that it's actually a Persian inspired fantasy. I've read, I think, one other Persian-inspired one, which was Girls Up in Thorn by Melissa Bashajuist, and I freaking loved that one. It was amazing. So hopefully this one will have kind of similar vibes to it. And the basic plot of it, from what I gathered, this one follows a long-lost queen of some like hidden jinn world. She's hiding in plain sight as a servant to the king, and one day she comes out of hiding to uproot the entire kingdom and save her people. So it sounds really interesting. I'm hoping that there's going to be a whole lot of like Persian mythology woven throughout it, as I'm sure we all know by now. Those are my favorite kind of stories, are the ones where like the mythology is just like woven seamlessly throughout it. I love learning about other cultures' mythologies, and the best way to do that is within fantasy stories. So I'm really hoping this one will live up to the hype. Next up on the 8th is Across a Field of Starlight by Blue Delliquanti. This one is a queer graphic novel, so I'm already sold. And it's a sci-fi graphic novel featuring a romance between 2 non-binary characters, so like even better. This one is going to be a story that explores the complexity of human nature and what brings us together. And the romance in here is a forbidden one because the one character like crash landed their spaceship onto the other character's planet, and I think they're like warring planets or something like that. But either way, it's very much a forbidden friendship and romance and all this stuff. So I'm very much looking forward to that. I love that plot line so much. It's one of my favorite tropes in sci-fi, and the art looks so cute as well. I can't wait for this one. And the last 4 books are all coming out on the 22nd. The first one is The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea by Axie. This has, honest to God, one of the most beautiful covers that I've ever seen in my life, and I know I say that in like literally every single one of these videos, but like seriously, look at this cover and just weep over how beautiful it is. I cannot get over it. It is so beautiful, and like plot wise too, it sounds amazing and like right up my alley. This one is set in a place that has been ravaged by really wicked storms for generations, and so once a year the people of the town sacrifice the most beautiful girl to the sea god in hopes that one day he'll find his true bride and put an end to the storms. But this year our main character's brother's betrothed is going to be sacrificed, so the main character ends up throwing herself into the sea to save the actual sacrifice and stop her brother from being heartbroken, which is very kind of her. I would not do that. And then she is swept into the spirit realm and learns that the sea god is actually in an enchanted sleep, and so she has to figure out a way to break that curse and hopefully put an end to the storms that have been destroying her home. So this sounds like it's going to be really fast paced and exciting and like so much adventure. This is like one of my favorite fantasy tropes. I love the whole like adventure journey thing to break a curse, and again with the mythology, I'm so excited for it. It sounds like the mythology is going to be a huge part of the story, and I can't wait for it. There were mentions of lesser gods and demons in the description, so I think that they're going to play a big role, and I'm so excited. Next up is Delilah Green Doesn't Care by Ashley Herring Blake. This one is a sapphic adult contemporary romance, and the main character is a photographer, so I am personally very hyped for this one. The one main character used to live in this small town, and she fucking hates it there. She has this horrible step family family who she does not get along with, and so she vowed that when she moved out she would never go back again, and she now lives in New York and has a thriving photography career. But her stepsister guilt trips her into coming back to the town to photograph her wedding, and she cannot turn down the check that's offered, so she goes, and there she meets one of her stepsister's best friend, who is like quite stuck up, and they really don't get along at first. But then of course the sexual tension builds and things go from there. So I'm very much looking forward to this one. I did actually request an arc of it from NetGalley, so I'm still hoping that maybe they'll approve me for it. But I am so excited to have more sapphic romance in my life. I literally always want more of it, and I'm so happy to see that more and more is being published. Next up is Extasia by Claire Legrand. This one sounds so freaking good. Claire Legrand is the author of Sawkill Girls, which is one of my favorite YA horror books ever. I don't read very much YA horror, but after reading Sawkill Girls, I will read any horror book that this author puts out, and this one sounds amazing. So it follows our main character who was about to be marked as one of the saints of their town, and their job is to vanquish this kind of dark evil. But our main character is secretly seeing some white beast that follows her. She's seeing these gray women that are as tall as houses, so she's maybe losing it just a little bit. Maybe she's got some of the evil in her. I have no idea what's happening, but it sounds spooky as hell, and I love the cover too. And again, this author, I will trust her with my life for some good horror stuff. And like for this one, I really don't want to know much about it, so I'm not gonna go too much into detail for the synopsis. I want to go into it pretty blind, so I'm going to leave that one there. But like, if you haven't read Sawkill Girls, go and read that one, and then go and read this one next, because like it sounds so good, and this author is amazing at horror, and it's queer too, like even better. And last but certainly not least is Only a Monster by Vanessa. This one is a contemporary fantasy, and it's the first book of what's going to be a trilogy. I am beyond hyped for this book. If you know me at all, you know that I love villains. I love monsters and villains and like characters who aren't meant to be the good guys, and that is what this book is. I can't wait for it. But first of all, take a moment. The cover. It's stunning. It's so beautiful. The plot, this one is about a girl who finds out that her family is actually a family of monsters, and the guy that's been flirting with her is secretly a monster hunter and has been using her to try and kill her family, basically. And so she has no choice but to work with this other cute guy who's from one of their rival monster families, and they're supposed to hate each other, but they have no choice but to work together. And of course that's going to turn into a romance. And then like the main character just has to like come to terms with the fact that she is not meant to be the hero in her own story. She is meant to be the villain. And I hope that she actually ends up being the villain, because like I want a good villain story. I really hope that it won't turn into a like, oh, I was meant to be the villain but I'm actually the hero. Like, no, I want them to be villains. Give me evil monsters, please. But those are all the books that I've got coming out in February that I'm looking forward to, so hopefully you found some more to add on to your TBR. Let me know if you have any other recommendations. I would love to hear them. But in the meantime, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you're having a fantastic day wherever you are in the world, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye!